How's it going, everybody? This is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another edition of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, got to spend some time with family and friends, and we're right back at it this week with our guest, Marki Lemons-Ryhal. Now, if you know Marki, she is an entrepreneur in the truest sense. She has her hands in many different forms of media and business. She happens to be a keynote speaker, a real estate educator. She has an MBA from St. Xavier University, 61 designations, certifications, and licenses in social media. She has presented social media marketing programs for NAR, Homes.com, Riz Media. The list goes on and on. She is also the host of the Social Selling Made Simple podcast with Marki Lemons-Ryhal, and she is an author. She is amazing, and I'm happy to have her on the podcast today to talk about celebrating you and gearing up for the new year. So let's get right into it with Marki. She is a ball of fire. I think you'll enjoy this one, and we'll pick it up on the other side. All right, so I had to bring in the big guns today to help me spread some holiday cheer for everybody. Her name is Marki Lemons-Ryhal. And Marki, first of all, thank you so much and welcome to the show. How you doing today out there in Chicago?
Look, I'm doing awesome in Chicago. The sun is shining. I'm looking out of my office window right now, so I know it's going to be a great day.
Now, I know you got to be tough to live in Chicago because my family used to live out there, actually right before I was born. And they got so sick and tired of the cold out there and the wind. They were like, we're out. I can't do it anymore. We're moving back east, and that's going to be that. But I got to tell you, I love Chicago as a town. I love Chicago. It is one of my absolute favorite cities. And I'm not just saying that because you're from there. I love Chicago. So I'm looking forward to going back one day soon. So
come on back and visit us. No problems.
All right.
Look,
so yeah.
But when you come, my family owns Chicago's second oldest Black restaurant. We've been in business since 1954, and we've sold more pork rib tips than anyone else. So when you come back, you gotta call me so I can get you some of these rib tips if you eat pork.
Well, you got it. Now, I do have to confess. Now, this is I don't like to confess this, but a couple years ago, right before the pandemic started, my wife decided to go vegan. And so by not necessarily by choice, but by proxy, I kind of went vegetarian because I'm a terrible cook. So so I don't know if the, like pork ribs or pork tips or whatever is gonna do well for me and Ann at this point. But I promise you, if I do start eating meat again and I make it to Chicago, you got it. No questions asked. I will be there.
Well, one, I know that you have a woman looking out for you. So great job to your wife. Okay. Let me start working on that over here.
Yeah, she's trying to keep me in shape, So, all right. So we are here to talk about celebrating you, gearing up for the new year. And I wanted to begin, quite frankly, we were discussing this right before we came on, but I want to begin with Zoom. All right. Because you and I are recording over Zoom right now, and you host your own podcast. And on one of your episodes, you had me cracking up recently because I feel like we all know agents that are notorious for what I'm about to say. And I want to get your take on it. I want to get your reasoning because you're very passionate about this. So first thing I'm going to say is that I found out that you are not a fan of virtual backgrounds.
I am not.
So I want you to know how hard I worked today on what's behind me. So for those listening, I have a whiteboard that says, welcome, Marki. This is podcast episode number 40. Now, one thing I did not know heading into this podcast is that in order to be a big producer, everybody must have a fern in the background. So I see your fern. I got my fern. It's like a money tree. It's like a money fern, So I got my fern behind me. I got my setup going on, my 4x4 space that you talk about. But you talk about Zoom and you talk about specifically being on a meeting or, you could be in a conference or a forum and you have all these people that sit off camera, right? They never participate. They never show up. They're not on camera. They're not smiling. They're not participating. They're like the silent peanut gallery in the back, right? That drives you crazy. So can you talk about why it is important to have a strong Zoom presence and to be present.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I can't talk about that subject enough. I was forced to come home. I was going to be on the road 100 nights in 2020, and I was already using Zoom. And I was realizing time and time again, as realtors, we're not showing up. We don't have our camera on. We don't say anything. We're this nice little black box. And it baffled me. I'm like, well, I'm at home. I'm in the comfort of my house. I'm wearing branded T-shirts. I don't have to put on a spank anymore, right? Like that alone means that I'm supposed to have a smile on my face. So I get my tape measure. I measure the distance from my master bedroom suite to my office. It's 13 feet. So I get to wear a nice branded T-shirt. Zoom has these wonderful filters, makes me look about 10 years younger. I've come 13 feet and I will not turn my camera on, but I want to complain when I don't have the market share that I want to have, right? So for me, it is all about the no excuse zone. I show up on camera every single day because there is no one here on the south side of the city of Chicago who can act like they don't know me and know what my name is. I was just in the grocery store this weekend with the mask on, and I could tell that the gentleman was standing at the end of the aisle. Mind you, this happens every time I go to the grocery store. And when I walked up, he says, "Hey, Marki Lemons-Ryhal," and he pronounced my name correctly. That let me know that he's heard me say my name multiple times to get my first name and my hyphenated last name right. And I just asked, I said, "Have you seen me on video?" And he says, "Yes, I have. And this is where I saw you." And so it's not just realtors in the marketplace. It's not just consumers. It's also politicians. They know me. You talked about this 4 foot by 4 foot space. I'm at an automatic caucus meeting. They might call them councilmen where you live. I see a young lady. Her name is Stephanie Coleman. She's a second generation alderwoman in Inglewood. And a fellow realtor, actually a fellow board of directors member said, "Oh, I'll introduce you to Stephanie." And when I come over, I'm like, "Hi, Stephanie, girl, you looking good," because she's lost a lot of weight. And she says, "Yes." And when I go on video, I sit in my 4 foot by 4 foot corner. I stopped. I said, "Stephanie, you know me?" And she was like, "Yes, I watch your videos." And so alderman, politician, and no one is going to scroll past page 1 to figure out who you are. So because we don't have to use gas, because we're walking feet, we need to show up with our camera on and our light ready. And I know some people will say, "Well, I don't like my hair." Well, I don't always like my hair either, okay? Maybe I didn't make it to the barbershop. That means you get you a branded baseball cap, right? This should be a part of your armor, okay? This is the no excuse zone. So I got on a branded real estate T-shirt. I keep branded real estate hats. Guess what? In the cold weather months, I got my branded hoodie because I need to create video content every single day because it's my unique selling proposition and it allows me to stand out in my marketplace for little to no cost. I operate my business at, get this, 3% cost of goods sold. Unfreaking heard of. Because I'm creating so much video content.
And I think you just hit the nail right on the head. I feel like we could shut this podcast down right now because, I mean, that is incredible. And what other business can you take advantage of that kind of, cost to income ratio, right? If you're doing the right thing, it's just going to perpetuate itself over and over again. So I think something as simple as showing up on Zoom, where we start off here, is the first thing that I would recommend everybody does out there, right? Just show up, be on camera. You talk about your branded baseball hats now. People laugh at me because once the pandemic started, I was like, I'm out on suits. Like, I had agents that like, I only know you to be in a suit. Suddenly I was in a hoodie, I was in a baseball cap, but I'm always on camera. I'm always showing up. I'm always participating and, having a smile on my face. Because like you said, it's great that we get to do this from here, it's refreshing. It's kind of exciting. I know people get little cabin fever, but it's part of our everyday world right now. So get used to it. So, all right. So moving on, since the year is winding down, I wanted to provide our listeners some motivation and inspiration on this podcast as well. This is the holiday episode, Marki. So we are, we're in the holiday spirit now. So for the year ahead, I've listened to you speak about stop getting ready to get ready, right? And I think this is the perfect time of the year to address that, because I think agents of all ages and experience levels need to constantly hear this, because they can always relate. We all have something we know that we're procrastinating over or about. It could be something social media related. Oftentimes it's, being on camera, it's being on video, like we talked about. It may be education related. Maybe it's getting your broker's license. Maybe it's getting that CRS designation. Maybe it's upping your education game, right? Or it may be production related. You're not doing what you need to do consistently, and you know it, to get you to that next level because you don't feel like doing it. So what do you say to those agents out there to motivate them to take that next step that they didn't take this past year?
I go back to my why. When I came into real estate, I was going through a bitter lawsuit with my family, and it was 1999. I was an unwedded mother, and I had a goal that I wanted to feel like a stay-at-home mom, but earn an above average income. In 2019, that child, his name is Skylar, graduated from Howard University with a degree in finance, and I did not have any student loan debt. He has some. I don't have any student loan debt because I paid all of my bills for him to go to college on time. What else is he is now a second generation realtor. And it hit me that real estate had been everything to me that I wanted it to be. I wanted to feel like a stay-at-home mom and earn an above average income to give my child opportunities. Real estate gave him every opportunity. And he works at a Fortune 500 company, and he's a licensed real estate broker. So when you decide that you want to make an excuse on why it is you think you should not do something, I want you to think about that why. What is the real reason why you decide to do this? And making money is just one of the parts. I wanted to be successful as an unwedded mother. I wanted to afford my child every luxury of life that could exist. Real estate allowed me that opportunity. So there are things that I absolutely do not like to do. Example would be, I just set up all of my emails for the duration of the year. I absolutely don't like emailing. I like being on camera, being animated. There's not much animation, right, that goes into email, but email is still an effective form of marketing. And we have to go back to the fact that we are entrepreneurs, that our broker, your broker, is not responsible for giving you leads. Now, they might give you some leads and they might have some lead tools available for you, but you're an independent contractor. So we want to keep that why and the fact that we're independent contractors at the forefront, because every single day, in order to earn a six-figure income, I want to know, did you add 6 to 8 contacts to your customer relationship management system? If you have not, you still have work to do today.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. I think it's one of those things we hear from agents all the time, right? When we're slow, we're like, oh, I don't have anything to do. You always have something to do. I know for me, I'm working on gearing up for the year ahead. My marketing plan right now, certain things that I wanted to accomplish, I'm taking care of right now. This is the time of year where I'm doing that while I have a little bit of time to do that, because I know next year if things go right and my preparation is key, then, come spring, I may not have time to do some of the things that I want to accomplish at that point in time. So it's taking care of business right now for the future, and that's what we're always doing our business anyway. We're always preparing for the future. So you had I don't think it was your quote, but you quoted a quote. All right. Now, I love this. I absolutely love this quote. So it is, be like a postage stamp and stick to one thing until you get there. All right. Now, I wanted to talk about that quote because I believe that it relates so well to our business. And you have agents that are very scattershot in their marketing, right? They do this one time, they give up. They do this, another time, they give up. What would you say about that quote? Why is it so important when it comes to real estate?
So let me go back to where the quote came from. So in 2012, my money was funny, my energy was zapped, and I did not have enough time to date my husband. So I was questioning if I was doing the right thing. I read the book, The One Thing, and my favorite quote from the book, The One Thing, is be like a postage stamp, stick to one thing until you get there. What I realized when I was sitting there and I was analyzing myself, I always made the most amount of money with the highest level of happiness, because it's one thing to make money. It's another thing to make money and be happy. And I was like, so when did you make money and you were happy? Because I've made money and not been happy. Okay. So I was like, Marki, every time you made the most amount of money with the highest level of happiness, it was because you were focused on one thing. Initially, it was growing our restaurant business. Our sales increased by 58%, and I was just focused on the restaurant business. It was my first year as a real estate broker. I closed $12 million in volume. I was just focused on selling real estate. And what had happened from that 2004 to 2012, when I was reading the book, I rehabbed houses. I became a real estate instructor. I was the queen of foreclosures and short sales. Like, I can't manage all that, right? So in 2012, I took a look and I decided that I would focus on social media and technology for real estate. Now, there are some things that just don't work, right? But we don't give it a chance to work. So here would be my recommendation. Let's say that you know that you're going to spend $6,000 on marketing next year. I also believe that you should set 10% aside for marketing, whether you use it or not. A lot of times we'll go and we'll do in January this one $6,000 marketing campaign. Well, marketing and sales is 100% about consistency. So instead of spending $6,000, don't you spend $6,000 on not one thing, okay? What you want to do is you want to take that $6,000. You want to have a year of success, not just a month of success. And you want to divide that out where you're going to come up with what is going to give you the highest return, spending $500 per month. I will tell you right now, nothing outperforms video content. Now, I know some of you are worried about how you think you look. People want to do business with real people. And they want you to be the same person online as you are when you show up at their house. So if you're doing a bunch of filters and you're not recognizable when you show up, you have just eroded trust. Be the same person who's going to knock on the door. And that should not be hard to do consistently. And right now, I have a beautiful Zoom filter on my face. I didn't wake up looking sun-kissed. I told someone the other day, I don't know what's going on Zoom. I look like I got me a new facial. It's because Zoom, it took 10 years off my life, okay? And so, but I'm still recognizable. When I show up, there's going to be the same haircut, same big earrings, and the same smile that's going to greet them at the door. They'll be like, I think she might have had a little filter on, but I'm still recognized. So you want to take that budget, break it down. You want to think of 12 months of consistency. And let me say this, there are some things that you might have done in the past that I would say you bring back, but you do it differently, right? So we're doing direct mail pieces, but our direct mail pieces all have a trackable QR code on it. The reason is I want to know if you scan the direct mail piece. So it's one thing, the ultimate goal is to generate a lead or to pick the phone up and call you. But everybody's not going to pick the phone up to call you. And I want to know, do they even interact with that direct mail piece? Well, if you put a trackable QR code on it, I can come back into a system called Bitly, and I'll know if you've ever scanned that card. So definitely have a budget, think about video, and put a new spin on something you've done traditionally that will make it trackable. So bring technology even into your card wraps, your direct mail pieces, so that you can track if that is working. And if it does not work, let it go.
Isn't it amazing? I just have an aside. Isn't it amazing how the QR code has kind of come full circle back around again? I mean, it's like music, right? You grew up, well, I grew up like on 80s music, right? And then you hear like the 80s music coming back around again, or like fashion, something comes back in fashion again. The QR code has completely done a 180, came back around again, and now everybody's using them again. And that, before it was always trying to find value in the QR code. How could we use this effectively? Now everybody seems to have found, okay, this is what we're going to use it for,
Think about it. It was a spin to the QR code. Make it scannable in the camera app. And then the pandemic occurred, and restaurants, they want to make sure, well, one, guess they're happy. They've reduced their cost because they don't give out a menu, right? The menu's on the website through a trackable QR code, okay? Now what they need to do is build in some type of rewards to sign up. That's what they need to do. They haven't done that quite yet. But the QR code, we had to download a special app. We couldn't find the value. Now, in the midst of a pandemic, and one simple tweak, it's no special app, it's the camera that scans it. It is actually valuable now.
It's like magic. It's crazy. I just find it funny, because it was 10, 12, 13 years ago when people are using these QR codes, I
haven't done it yet, but I've told my agents, I was like, look, I want you to get a QR code, put it on the back of a t-shirt, go out in the summertime and see how many people just scan your button a day.
I love that. You know what? If it's okay, I may have to steal that one. Because I really do want. I really. You already
know what people gonna be out there doing.
I know. That is hilarious. I think I may have to do that. All right. Okay. All right. So gearing up for the new year now. We're talking about the new year, 2022. Knowing what you know and with knowledge that you have in the real estate and business world, what is going to be crucial for all real estate agents in 2022 to hit consistently in order to get ahead of the curve and separate themselves from other agents? Now, we talk about the QR code, we talk about video. Is there anything coming up in the new year that you feel like, okay, these are what the real professionals are doing, right? This is how they're getting the most out of their business. What would you say to that?
Well, besides the fact of consistency, really understanding that avatar or consumer persona. And it's something that I've had to dive deep into, where I know that 70% of my audience is female. That number one age category is 45 to 54. And here's the thing that threw me off. Even though my audience is 70% female, my engagement on any post is 80% female. And so the issue that I'm having, and I would assume that every realtor, once they understand the numbers, are they willing to take action? With those type of numbers, I should have something that specializes, that I specialize or have some type of segment for female realtors, because I'm clear who my audience is. What I've done is straddled the fence, right? I don't want to alienate the men because I know that they make up 20%, essentially 20% of my audience, give or take. But a part of me is like, could I make more money if I went deeper with this female audience? Okay. When you understand who your audience is and being consistent, it's not about you. It's 100% about you solving their problems. And so I'm always looking at how can I be the solution to their problem? So once you understand who that persona is and you can start understanding what their problems are, you're always talking about a solution to their problem. Cosnop. I just went back 20 some years ago when I was on the mortgage side of the business, and there was a top producer, and it was always concentrate on solutions, not on the problem. You have to be the consistent solution to your sphere of influence, who can afford to buy and sell in the markets that you want to dominate.
Yeah. I agree with. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. If you strike a nerve with a lot of things that you say with me, because I truly do believe I see, and the reason why I say strike a nerve is I'm not calling any particular brokerage out, okay? But I'm saying that we see out there a lot of times nowadays that we make it about us, right? The agent. And it's all about how we look. It's all about, what we can do. It's all about what we've accomplished. And it's not about what the consumer wants, right? And I think that's where the disconnect is a lot of times with what we do, because you talk about, I come and my listeners know this, I come from a ninja background, right? It's identifying that pain and pleasure, right? And so you have to identify that pain. And like you say, you have to provide value to your clients. What do your clients want? They don't want to see you, in some glamour shot, like they don't care about that stuff. Who cares about that? Anyway.
So let me tell you about the glamour shot, because let's talk about what to do and what not to do. I am seeing agents consistently invest in their glamour shots, but they don't invest in the photography for the listings. Stop doing that. Okay. I believe that every 1 to 2 years, you should definitely go and get updated photos. You should get about 300 photos. You should get photos. You should have photo changes, and you should do what we call 1/3. So I slide to 1/3 and I do this so I can put the house in my hands, right? But the photography for the property needs to be equivalent to my personal photo shoot. And if you want to make it about you, then when you take these photos, right, you need to have a picture of you holding every last one of your listings, right? You can do that PNG transparent photo of yourself. But and I've made a post on that situation. You never should your photos be more expensive than your property photos, because you're selling the real estate. And let me be clear, whether realtors know this or not, there are homeowners who are mad right now at their realtor because they thought that their home photos would be equivalent, and they're not.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. In fact, I was looking for a client on the MLS. I come across this beautiful property, and I'm getting excited as the buyer agent, because the photos of this property are so bad that I'm thinking other agents may not go to see this. Because as an agent, I'm seeing past the bad photos, and I'm like, this is going to show 100 times better in person than it is on the MLS. Now, that's going to hurt the seller, but that might help my buyer's chances in weeding out the competition and getting this house. So I'm excited. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just an awful, awful thing that we see time and time again out there. And you are so right. And so, you talk about taking the picture like with the house, right? And so I want to know, what do you use right now that you love real estate app wise? Like, is there some programs out there that you love? Are there some real estate apps out there right now that you love, that you use day in and day out, that you can say, hey, you need this app? You know what I mean? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, no.
I want to know what you use out there.
Here's the thing. I am a content creating fool. So do I promote myself? Most definitely. I am in sales and marketing, right? But I put out content galore, podcast, video, blog post, email marketing, right? I'm going to tell you right now, every realtor needs, and I'm going to actually change my language, because I believe in creating a premium looking brand with freemium tools. Okay. So you do it for as long as humanly possible free. But I believe on your Christmas list, you need to ask for the pro version of Canva. Here's the reason why. That new video editing tool they have is phenomenal. They have a social media management platform that works. Last year, I was using Hootsuite. I was grandfathered in at the $5.99 per month. They went up to $75. I'm like, oh, you cannot take me from $5.99 to $75. So I am using Later, but I don't need to use later.com. I can do everything inside of Canva. So I can create and edit all photos, all videos, schedule them to be post. I can remove the background. I mean, like right now, it is my number one go-to. Let me get you straight though. Desktop app. I'm 51. I'm that typical realtor. I can't see nothing that I'm creating in the palm of my hand, okay? I got readers and bifocals in every pair of glasses I have. I'm that typical realtor. So from the desktop, here's the joy of Canva. Everything you create on the desktop automatically syncs to the mobile app, so you can download it, and guess what? The spelling is going to be correct. It's going to be exactly what you created. I also like for an app, InShot, INSHOT, where I would recommend you do use the free version. Here's why. Right now, if you want to get more engagement, you're going to need to create reels. You're going to need to create reels on Instagram. You're going to need to create reels on Facebook. If you don't like the editing tool in either one of those platforms, I would say use InShot. Am I creating reels? Yes. But to accommodate the time to create those reels, there were some things that I had to let go. I did let go of Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, and Clubhouse. The reason is because I'm clear who my audience is. Therefore, I want to go deeper where they spend the majority of their time. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I keep LinkedIn because it's the only business-to-business platform. So I'm not telling you to do something that I am not doing. You can go find I own my name across, the hundreds of pages on internet, the couple of 100,000 entries, because I'm creating content because I don't want you to ever act like you don't know what I do.
I think it's important to mention what you just said there, because you know your audience, right? Because the thing that we're hearing time and time again right now is, TikTok is kind of rocketing up the boards as like, the new sensation. Everybody needs to be on TikTok. Now, you said you gave up TikTok because of your audience. So can you talk just for people that need to be talked to about this? Why is that?
Well, first of all, I do believe that realtors should spend 1 hour per day on social media for the purpose of lead generation. I believe they should apply what is called the Ford script. On Facebook, on Instagram, actually on every last one of these platforms, people are telling you what their Ford is. They're telling you about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. This is how you slide, or often I will say slither, into their DM. Now, right now, you can monetize. You can get checks from YouTube. You can get checks from Facebook Reels. You can get checks from Instagram Reels. So I also believe in multiple streams of income. If I'm going to create this content, do I want to generate leads? Yes. Would I like to have additional money, a couple of $100 here and there? Most definitely. And so I understand who my audience is. I already know that TikTok and Snapchat, even though they might be there, it is not their preferred location. Also, it is okay to be great at one thing. I decided to not be great at one thing. Let me say this. I wanted to be great at video, organic, authentic video that I don't need to edit because I hate to edit video, which is why I'm always doing live video. And people like the blunders or the mistakes or when I get tongue-tied and I correct myself because I just keep going because they're likely to get tongue-tied too. And so you have to understand who your consumer is. And get this, I don't miss Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, or Clubhouse. I have no desire to go back. And I have built better relationships on the platforms where my consumers are likely to hang out. But I'm going to say something that's probably going to shock most people. I want to be financially eligible for retirement on September the 25th, 2033. I can retire in style with my female audience, 45 to 54, because we're doing this together, right? So as I'm planning, they're planning. I'm talking their language. The reason I absolutely love what I do, because I'm hanging out with my girlfriends globally every single day, talking to them about things that matter to us. I'm not, the 32-year-old in the CRS course, one of the case studies we talk about is the average age of a first-time home buyer is 32 years of age. What platform would you go to hang out with them? And I had to get honest. I don't want a 32-year-old buyer. First of all, they're at the beginning. I'm at the end. I've had promotions. My husband has had raises. We're a 2-income household. Most 32-year-olds aren't married. So we're talking about at the beginning, and they're a single income household. They can't afford to buy what it is that I'm trying to sell. So why do I want to go hang out with them? I want to hang out, look, with my girlfriends who likely to get a divorce and going to lead to 3 transactions.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. I mean, you have to pick and choose what you want and where you are in your career, what you want out of it, right? It's all about choices, and you have those choices. So, okay. So we talked a little bit about Canva. I love Canva, by the way, but I actually got really into it this year. I'm still kind of learning kind of how to, use it effectively, but I love it. So in your opinion, where should agents invest in themselves and in their business in 2022? Now we can keep it macro, like, should it be more, online? Obviously you have to be online, right? But let's talk about some other ways of investing in yourself. So you're raring to go. So you tell me, where should people invest?
I'm going to give you 2 things. The first one is, if your agents have not already taken the ABR course, I recommend that every agent takes the ABR course due to one little simple thing, the Department of Justice. And the likelihood is we will not see an offer of compensation in the MLS in the future. Real simple terms, right? So what do you do if you're representing a buyer, right? And there's no offer of compensation made in the MLS? First of all, your services are not free. Let's stop that language right now. So I believe that every buyer's agent needs to understand how to get a signed buyer representation agreement with an offer of compensation, period. That would be first. The second thing is, I believe that they should invest in platforms like a Calendly, because if you understand what your time is worth, if you are invested in something like a Calendly, people are 7 times more likely to show up for your appointments. So your listing appointment, your buyer's appointment, you have those set up on the dates and times that you want, and people select it. The thing is, every time that I do an appointment, it saves me 15 minutes of my time. Because I understand the value of my time, let's say the value of your time is worth $1 per minute, right? That means $60 an hour. You can pay for the tool in less than 2 hours of your time, and it will integrate with your Zoom. It can integrate with a payment platform, with Stripe, with PayPal. You can have a workflow for a follow-up, reminding that person the day before, hey, we have a showing appointment tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then at 7 a.m. the next morning, hey, I look forward to seeing you in 1 hour. So between the ABR class, because I believe moving forward, every agent will need to know how to get a signed buyer representation agreement and an offer of compensation, and then the Calendly or a Calendly-like tool to become more effective in managing your time, thereby saving you time. That would be 2 things that honestly Calendly has saved me. Calendly saves itself every single day its cost.
Well, you basically are telling me that I need to do that right now, because I desperately need to invest in something like that, because I need that for my time, for my schedule, and also it comes off professional too. When you're dealing with clients, they get a follow up from you, to let them know that they're going to be with you the following day, especially when it's scheduled far out in advance, like you and I were, right? We scheduled this months ago. And so, I think that's definitely effective. And, for all those that don't know, there are some changes that are coming around the bend. You mentioned the ABR, you mentioned buyer compensation, all that stuff. We're not going to get into that today, but definitely, I think that's great advice coming from you. All right. So I want to kind of end here on just a personal level with you. Right. So since we are in the holiday season, and we're giving thanks, I just want to know, what is it that you are giving thanks for in 2021? And what do you personally want to improve upon in 2022?
Well, I am a PK. So that means a pastor's kid, born and raised in the church, was baptized twice because I didn't know it the first time took. I was diagnosed with lipedema this year, which is a fat disorder. So this is no ordinary fat. This is extraordinary fat that I've been carrying around for 40 years. I am thankful that God has preserved me, and after 40 years, revealed to me what is truly wrong, because it answered so many questions that I've had over the past 4 decades. starting at the age of 10, I really had a problem with why I could not wear riding boots because my calves were so big. So I am just thankful for the fact that I know now. And what do I need to improve upon? When I think about improving, oh Lord, what do I want to improve upon? Because I'm always.
I said I wasn't going to catch you off guard with a question.
Oh, you did catch me off guard. So I'm looking around here. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what I want to improve upon. I am going to work on my tax strategies. I pay the IRS entirely too much money. So when it comes to my business, I want better tax strategies, tax shelter, investment options. So I don't have to send the IRS all my money. I want to improve greatly upon that in my life. That probably wasn't the answer you was thinking about, but mama need to keep some of that money and invest it.
I'll tell you what, amen to that. I got news for you. I'm right there with you. I'm kind of shuddering to think what I'm going to be paying in taxes this year.
It is let me tell you why though. This is the first year that me and the IRS have a kumbaya, we love one another relationship. First time ever, right? And when I sent them all of my hard-earned money, it was their money. Let me get you straight. I had just been holding on to it for them for quite some time. I knew that I didn't want to be in that relationship again. So one thing that I implemented, and let me say, because there's another change coming around independent contractor status, I'm encouraging people to set up their businesses contingent upon whatever agreement they have with you. But I set up Gusto. And I get excited every 2 weeks to get a paycheck. But I looked at what I pay the IRS in taxes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, which is why I want the tax strategy.
Yep. All right. Well, listen, I really just loved our time together today. I could talk to you forever and a day about everything. But, for the audience out there, I would say when life gives you lemons, you just shut up and listen. That's what I would say. Anyway.
And make lemonade.
But anyway, thank you so much, Marki. I really appreciate your time. Happy holidays to you and your family. And I hope to talk to you again in the future.
We'll make it happen. Thank you. Happy holidays.
That was the conversation with Marki Lemons-Ryhal this week, and she was just awesome to talk to. I had a lot of fun with the podcast this week. A couple observations and takeaways that I had from my conversation with Marki. Number one, if you plan on having a virtual meeting in a virtual space like a Zoom or a Google Meet, make sure that you show up. And by show up, I mean make sure that you are on camera, make sure that you are present, make sure that you participate in that meeting because you never know what that could lead to. Just like when we market to our clients or we farm a new area, you want to stay present. You want to stay on top of people's minds. And in order to do that, if you participate, you never know what it could lead to down the line. It's part of your professionalism. Number two, Marki talks about when you are marketing to your clients or who you think your target audience is online, know where they are. Know where you can find those people because not every single platform that you engage in, like a Facebook, Instagram, even to a TikTok, is going to have that target audience of yours. Who is it that you are marketing to, and make sure you go to where they are. It's vitally important to your marketing strategy to know these things. It can save you time and can generate more leads for you. And last but not least, number three, make 2022 the year of no excuses. Marki talks about not having any excuses in her life for her goals that she wants to accomplish. And I think if we incorporate that into our new year coming up, 2022, we'll be better for it. So if you're thinking about, taking a class that you haven't taken, getting a designation that you don't have, accomplishing something goal-wise that maybe you want to achieve in your personal life, make 2022 that year. Make it the year of no excuses. Set out to achieve that goal, and you will do it. Well, that's it for the podcast this week. Thanks for joining us. We will be on a little bit of a hiatus here with the holidays coming up, but we will be back shortly with a new topic, new guest, And if you want me to cover something in particular that you haven't heard about yet, please reach out to me, jason.ostrowski@foxroach.com. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our podcast yet, please do so. Leave us a review as well. And until next time, this is Jason Ostrowski wishing you a very healthy and happy holiday season. Stay safe out there, stay selling, and we'll catch you next time on the Everything Real Estate Podcast.